8 feet tall, or Hachishakusama, is a Japanese urban legend about a mysterious woman who kidnaps children. She's always described as being 8 feet tall, dressed in a long white gown, and making a disturbing sound like puh, puh, puh. When I was a kid, my grandparents lived in Japan. Every summer, my parents and I would fly there to visit them. They lived in a quiet village with a big backyard, and I loved spending my days playing outside. Grandma Linda and Grandpa Joe always welcomed me warmly. They didn't have any other grandkids, so I was a bit spoiled. The last time I visited them, I was 8 years old. My parents dropped me off and left to explore another part of the country, leaving me in my grandparents' care. One afternoon, I was lying in the backyard, enjoying the sun and the breeze. That's when I heard a strange noise. Puh, puh, puh. It was deep, like a man's voice, and I couldn't tell where it was coming from. As I sat up and looked around, I saw something moving behind the tall hedges surrounding the yard. A straw hat floating just above the top. Then a face appeared beneath it. A woman's face, but those hedges were nearly 8 feet high. How could she be that tall? I wondered if she was on stilts or wearing some bizarre platform shoes. A moment later, she turned and disappeared, and the sound faded with her. Confused and a bit shaken, I went inside and told my grandparents. At first, they didn't react, but the moment I imitated the sound, puh, 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 they froze. Grandma Linda's hand flew to her mouth, and Grandpa Joe grabbed my arm tightly. "Tell me exactly how tall she was," he demanded. "As tall as the hedges," I whispered. His expression darkened. He fired off question after question. "Where was she? What time was it? Did she see you?" Then he rushed to make a phone call while Grandma stood there, visibly trembling. When he returned, he said, "I have to go. Stay here and don't let him out of your sight." I asked what was happening. Grandpa Joe gave me a serious look and said, "She's chosen you. 8 feet tall has chosen you." He left immediately. Grandma Linda tried to comfort me as we waited. She explained the legend. Hachishakusama, 8 feet tall, is a spirit that takes the form of a towering woman who lures children by mimicking the voices of their loved ones. Long ago, monks had trapped her inside a ruined structure using sacred statues placed in 4 directions. But one of the statues must have broken. Now she was free again. According to legend, if she targets someone, they'll die within a few days. Eventually, Grandpa Joe returned with an elderly woman named Ms. K. She handed me a worn parchment and told me to hold on to it. Then she and Grandpa went upstairs to prepare something. Later, they brought me to my room. All the windows were covered with newspaper, and ancient symbols were scribbled over them. Salt had been poured into bowls in each corner, and a small Buddha statue sat in the center. There was even a blue bucket. "For your bathroom needs," Grandpa said. Ms. K gave strict instructions. "Do not leave this room under any circumstances until 7 a.m. tomorrow. Your grandparents won't call or speak to you. No matter what you hear, don't open the door. And keep the parchment with you at all times." After they left, I locked the door and tried to distract myself with the TV, but my nerves were shot. Around 1 a.m., I was jolted awake by tapping at the window. Tap, tap, tap. I told myself it was just the wind, until I heard Grandpa Joe's voice. "Are you okay in there? You don't have to stay alone. I can come in." I ran toward the door, then stopped. Something was off. The voice sounded like Grandpa's, but it wasn't quite right. Then I saw the salt in the bowls turn black. Frozen with fear, I backed away and dropped to my knees in front of the Buddha. Clutching the parchment, I started to pray. Outside, the voice changed. Puh, puh, puh. The tapping continued. I stayed like that, terrified and pleading, for the rest of the night. When morning came, I unlocked the door. Grandma Linda and Miss Kay were waiting, tears in Grandma's eyes. My parents had come back, and Grandpa Joe urged us to leave immediately. We were escorted to a large black van. 8 of my male relatives were inside, surrounding me. Miss Kay was driving. The man beside me whispered, "Keep your eyes shut, no matter what. Only you can see her." As we drove, I heard the sound again. Puh, puh, puh. I peeked out the window and saw the white dress moving beside us. She was keeping pace. Suddenly, she bent down and looked inside. "Close your eyes," someone yelled. I did tightly. Then came the tapping, and the voice. The men were on edge, muttering, tense. Miss Kay began chanting prayers louder and louder. Eventually, the sound stopped. She said, "I think it's over." Everyone exhaled in relief. They transferred me to my dad's car. Miss Kay asked for the parchment. It had turned completely black. She handed me a new one and said, "Keep this close, just in case." We drove straight to the airport. Grandpa made sure we got on the plane safely. Once airborne, my parents told me the rest. Years ago, my dad's friend had been targeted by 8 feet tall. He vanished and was never found. Some who survive never return to Japan. They settle in other countries, never risking a visit back. The entity always chooses children, mimicking relatives to gain their trust. The men in the van were all blood relatives. Surrounding me confused the spirit. It took time to gather them, which is why I had to be locked in the room. That all happened over a decade ago. I haven't seen my grandparents since. We talk on the phone. I've tried to convince myself it was just folklore, a prank, some childhood nightmare. But part of me still wonders. 2 years ago, Grandpa Joe passed away. He insisted I not attend his funeral. Last week, Grandma Linda called. She has cancer. She begged me to visit one last time. "Are you sure it's safe?" I asked. "It's been 10 years, she said. "You're not a child anymore. It's over." "But what about her?" I asked. Silence. Then, over the phone, I heard a familiar sound. Puh, puh,